Hey, no, no, hey, no, no, hey. Please, I am back with some more videos. I feel like I haven't filmed in like forever, which I really haven't since I scheduled my videos out. But this video is things not to say to an autistic parent. Now, I did get this list off the internet and it kind of came to me when I was at an event. Oh, actually, I was on my Facebook group and someone was saying that someone said something to her that she didn't appreciate. And it kind of goes to things not to say to an autistic parent. So the first one is, she doesn't look autistic. What the hell does autism look like? Okay, I don't know. They are such a range. No autistic person is the same. There's a range of issues. My daughter has a bunch of issues that my friend's daughter does not. My friend's daughter has issues that my daughter does not. And then there's a few things that are the same. So there is no look to autism, not like the look to Down syndrome. That, you can kind of look at a child with Down syndrome and can tell they have Down syndrome, but you cannot look at a child and point them out and say one has autism and one doesn't. So no parent want to hear that shit. Are you sure she's autistic? I didn't want my child to be autistic. That's not something, I didn't even really know what autism was until she got diagnosed. So why would I make that shit up? You know what I mean? Someone got me to the point of coming up with a diagnosis when I was seeing things that just didn't add up, when she wasn't meeting her developmental delays. Am I sure she's autistic? First of all, I'm not a doctor. But am I sure she's autistic? Yes, I am sure. It took me a long time to get to that point to accept the diagnosis because I didn't believe it myself personally, but I didn't know any better. So you live, you learn. But that's kind of an insulting question. What do you think is the cause? Well, no scientist, doctor, or whatever can figure out the freaking cause, so I don't know. At first, I felt guilty. Here she comes. Hey, you smiling? You smiling? First, I felt guilty for getting her vaccinations until my friend, whose daughter's autistic, we met on a forum. She lives down the street from me, thank God. It was so weird how we met. Her daughter didn't even have the MMR vaccination, and she was autistic, so I'm not totally convinced. So, presently, no scientist, no research can totally confirm where autism comes from. They say it could be genetic, but they said if she doesn't have that genetic marker, does not mean she doesn't have autism. So I call bullshit on that. They said it, people think it's the vaccines, but then kids who didn't get the vaccine get autism. So not totally sure on that. Hold on, take it off my socks. I really feel it's environmental, maybe something done in the womb, maybe I should have ate all organic. I don't fucking know. So let's put it this way. Your guess is as good as mine. What can she do? My child is not a zoo animal. So I guess the question is like Rain Man, does she have crazy math skills? Is she a genius? Presently, I have no fucking idea if she's a genius. Could she be a genius? Sure, just like any other kid could be a genius. My child has autism, but she is not intellectually disabled. She is very smart, and that was one of the questions I did ask her therapist. Is she intellectually disabled? And they were like, no. And nobody is giving me that diagnosis. So her mind works. Her mind works fine. She just doesn't speak. She could do a bunch of things with her tablet, and she can do a lot of things with pictures and things like that. It's almost like when someone's blind, they use other ways to communicate, or see things or get through the world. Like when someone's deaf, sign language, she definitely has a few signs. So it is what it is. What can she do? Breathe. That's what she can fucking do. Breathe. Maybe if you provided some discipline. So this is about meltdowns. And a true meltdown has literally nothing to do with discipline. It's usually frustration, lack of communication. You know, at this age, she should be able to tell me something hurts. She should be able to say, I don't want that, or I don't like this TV station, or whatever. So let's put it this way, if you were stuck in your mind and you couldn't convey to somebody what you want and what you need. So it's not about discipline. It's about, I still have to figure out what she wants and needs. I still have to guess. So there's certain things like I overreact. Like I bring her to the doctor more than average because she can't tell me she's in pain. She can't tell me she's hurting. So I try to look for cues. I have been successful with looking at those things sometimes, and sometimes I overreacted. But I'd rather overreact than her be in pain. I can't beat the out because I cannot beat the autism out of my daughter. My daughter does not necessarily have behavioral issues, but she does. I guess the word is meltdown. She does melt down on occasion, but she does not. In in her diagnosis, she does not have a lot of behavioral issues. I try to talk to her and she doesn't look at me. Maybe you should get her hearing checked. Well, the funny thing is, that's the first thing we did was get her hearing checked. She had her hearing checked before she was diagnosed. She has perfect hearing. She does hear me. I can tell she does hear me. And sometimes she willfully ignores me, not just ignore her name. She will eat when she's hungry. I don't know about that. Like, my daughter eats five things, literally five things. I've tried to try other things, and we end up reverting back to the same five things because it's just not worth it to me to try to get her to eat things she doesn't like or doesn't want. Or, I mean, I have got her the green juice just so she always has some vegetables, and I try to make it more balanced because it is very starch based, which is a lot of autistic kids eat a lot of starches opposed to or gray foods. It definitely is that. But my daughter also has motor issues, or what's it called, muscle tone issues. So, I mean, she does, it's all over her body. She has muscle tone issues. So, biting food is an issue, walking, she can walk and she walked on time, but walking up and down stairs is an issue. So, she definitely needs occupational therapy, whereas not every autistic kid needs occupational therapy. Those are my questions with things you do not ask an autistic parent. My thing is, don't ask evasive questions at all. I hate that. Like when I talk to people, I'd be like, "Oh, how's your kid doing? Oh, they're beautiful." Just very open-ended questions. I don't start diagnosing anybody like I have a PhD in autism or anything else that I do not have a PhD in. And sometimes people need to shut the fuck up. Yes, I said it. Shut the fuck up. Just listen. Sometimes people just want to be listened to. But when you give your advice, like I can beat the autism out of them, or they don't look autistic, or whatever, us as autistic parents of autistic children, we have enough on our plate to not deal with that. So do not take it upon yourself. Just let it go. We don't want to deal with that. Like, comment, subscribe, holla back. Hey!